I switched screens over to RC Arm, and I'm gonna post it because that's dime time.
Yeah, that's another one that came from our after hours spaces. The
Yeah,
fan
congrats to
noodling.
everybody. So many people today that did well. Very happy and proud that some people got like a year's salary in a day today. It was very
Yeah,
cool.
So, question: where does this go from here?
There's probably still a little bit more juice. I'm not gonna lie.
I tend to agree. It seems insane to say, and yeah, it could fill in, but this is this is one that honestly kind of like Disney. This one's totally different, but like on the Disney side of things, if it's pulling back or whatever, and that is a generational low, like it just makes sense to be adding something. Like just let it go, right? Take a position for a year, whatever. Um, ARM though, like I'll let Domp explain this one, but it basically there's there's like low float and there's a major player involved, and I'll let him take it at that.
Yeah. So uh, you can kind of think for like a layman right now, ARM and what happened with earnings is you can kind of think of this as like a GME type of squeeze. So ARM, long ago, is owned a lot. It has a lot of ownership is owned by SoftBank. SoftBank is a you've probably seen Masa, I forget his whole name, Masa something son, but you've probably seen his face. He's got this kind of goofy smile. He's even been involved in, was it Sandbox? So you've probably even seen like Hasaka have that meme from 3 years ago when Sand would pump of him pulling up on these sunglasses with these earphones in them. But this guy, he was a big investor in Baba before they went public. He owned a lot of ownership in like T-Mobile and in Sony and a bunch of crap in the 90s. I think he even owned a lot of ownership in Nvidia at one point too. Anyways, so their fund owned a lot and still does own a lot of ownership in SoftBank. Before COVID, they wanted to sell ARM to Nvidia, and the deal fell through just with different things happening with the market during COVID and the bear market of the time. So the plan was to then take them to IPO, and they were basically have reopened the IPO window for more things to start coming to the market. After this, there's been at least like 4 or 5 other IPOs as of late. SoftBank still owns like 90% of the stock that's available to us. There's only like 10% float out there, so this is super manipulative. Like,
Dude,
Exactly.
it's funny is Mally mentioned something in the Discord about it today. I actually looked up ARM USDT today because it was pumping
Yeah.
like a coin, like a meme coin.
there's also motive for ARM to do really well for SoftBank so that they can sell their shares onto the market, because ARM Bank or SoftBank shot themselves in the foot right as we were entering the downturn of post-COVID pandemic. They bought WeWork, which was a total flop, obviously, because nobody's going to those spaces anymore. Everybody's working remotely. That caused so much of their debt story. It revolves around buying WeWork and having it be a complete flop. So just today alone, just today or yesterday's after hours price action, I think I don't know the statistics off my head, but I did tweet it. There's an article out there from like CNBC. Like that alone covered all of their losses on the books right now. So they would have to sell, obviously. It's unrealized, but it could cover all of their losses that they took from WeWork. And now the former CEO of WeWork that sold to SoftBank now wants to rebuy WeWork. So if SoftBank is going to come out of this potentially unscathed and like back complete, having gone through a whole bear market where they were the poster child that everybody pointed to of funds that were expected to blow up, they're probably going to make it out of this unscathed.
Mm-hmm. And they did it here. The real question is do you know how in order to balance their books, let's call it, is there a target on ARM?
No, if we go to ARM, and so you know how you've got it up, or let me try to pull it up. You know how I've been using this a lot lately. there's that financial section that you can use, and you can look at like forecasts, and it'll tell you like this how many analysts expect a strong buy such and such, and they'll give you like targets. So I think ARM, I didn't see today, I didn't keep a close beat on it, but I bet you a lot, just like Nvidia happened, a bunch of price targets changed for higher because all these funds and all these analysts and all these buy side, sell side analysts are all caught off guard and now have to reprice higher. They're going to put their target higher so that they can get out of this and cover themselves. Same thing will happen with ARM. We'll get a crazy price target soon.
I think so too. And the thing is like this is just one that's like, well, it's great to be an early, I suppose, but I mean, I would expect this one just to push.